on.
How's it going over there? Oh.
Well.
What you
got
got?
My show and tell ready.
Is that your show and tell?
This is my show and tell.
Do you want to go first today, since yours is front and center?
I guess. I totally commandeered going first, so we're gonna go into mine first, I guess.
Yeah.
Is that okay?
Yeah.
So this is my mask. It's vintage Care Bears fabric.
Oh,
very proud of it. But there's a lot of conversation happening about masks lately in early childhood programs, and so I wanted to chat it out with you.
Yeah.
Because I want to, we haven't talked about it, you and I.
Yeah, no, we haven't.
I want to know what Washington State is requiring and what is happening. So,
it's like a whole, oh, my hair looks gross. It's like a whole to-do right now because licensing doesn't know. The governor just made a proclamation that when we enter into the next phase or whatever, all workers have to wear masks except for these specific things. And so all of us Washington child care providers were like, does that mean us? Does it make sense for us to wear masks? Should we be wearing masks? I don't know. And licensing doesn't know. Licensing is not very helpful here.
No, well,
it's I'm not going to say much more on that.
I think that licensing everywhere doesn't know quite what's going on. Yeah. And everything changes so much on the daily.
Yes.
It's so hard to keep up with things.
Absolutely. So are you requiring teachers to wear masks? Let's just answer that.
No, we are not.
Cool.
They can if they feel more comfortable. Mm-hmm. We are not requiring children or teachers. So far in the state of Minnesota, it is not required in child care centers. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I have a fabulous teacher who said that so we've also had the conversation, what do we do if a parent says my child has to wear a mask all day? Keep it on them.
Yeah.
Chances are it's not going to stay on all day. They're not comfortable for 8 hours, 10 hours of wear. And we've had discussion about how we're going to handle that with parents as far as if they say my child needs to wear a mask all day long, make sure that stays on, what we're going to do in that instance. And one of my teachers is well, if that's the case, I will be the teacher who puts a mask on so that child is not the only child with a mask on.
Oh my God. I'm going to cry right now. That's beautiful.
Right? I know.
Yeah.
Because that wasn't even something that I had thought about, because I'm much more of I'm trying to direct this from the top down and figure out how this is going to work. And she's very much more directing it from the heart. And I was like, wow, that's powerful. And that's powerful in any instance. And I learn every day from the teachers in my program. And I'm so grateful for all of them. But yeah, we're not requiring anybody to wear them. So far, no child has showed up that is wearing one. We take a bus out to our forest school for our school agers this summer. They get on the bus every morning and they leave. So they're in a small space together for a half an hour. And we talked about, we had masks made for them to wear on the bus because we thought that might be a good thing to do. Small space, whatnot.
Yeah,
they're in you can't separate in the bus. So we had somebody make masks. However, Minnesota, there's an organization in Minnesota called the Minnesota Children's Cabinet. And there's been weekly calls with DHS and this Minnesota Children's Cabinet. And DHS, they had a health person on there saying that in early childhood programs, they're not effective if children have to keep touching them. Yeah. If they have to keep adjusting, there's no point in wearing them all day. And so with the age of the kids that we have, and just Minnesota, in the county that we are in, we only have like 40 cases of COVID. And so our community, you see about half people wearing masks, half not around town. Whereas today I went to the Twin Cities and every single person had one on because the rate of COVID is so much higher in the Twin Cities. And so it very much depends on the area. But because of our community and the circumstances that we are in, we said, you know what, we're not going to have them wear them on the bus at this point in time. But we do have the masks just in case things pick up. And there's
do you have the mask use like tied to a metric? Like,
we don't, but it's very much just what we are very much going by what the CDC and the Department of Human Services of Minnesota and the Minnesota Department of Health is recommending. And I think that's all that we can do at this point. And we're very, very lucky that Minnesota is all of our licensors are very understanding that masks in an early childhood program is hard.
Yeah.
So I can't. There are states though. Yeah, there are states though that it's required, right? Am I right on this? And I
don't know. I don't know this answer. I know that there are definitely states and cities that are hot spots that it makes more sense to wear the masks than it does to not wear the mask.
So my question to you is, to sort this through a little bit, what could the ramifications be of wearing a mask daily, 8 to 10 hours a day in an early childhood program? Like, if that is a thing that has to happen for the next 6 months or next year until we have a vaccine, like, what are some things that we think we could see happen or not happen when people have their face covered all day?
I think it would be next to impossible to do that with children under 2 because they would want to play with the mask so much.
Yeah, right.
Like, they already play with your hair and your face and your glasses. Like, if it's not mask, it's the rest of your body, and suddenly the mask is just encouraging them to touch the places you don't want them to touch right now anyway.
Yeah.
I struggle with the masks, especially in our setting, just because we have the same small group all day, every day. It's not like we're pushing 60 kids, different kids on Monday, Wednesday, Fridays, half days, and Tuesday, Thursdays, half days. It's like we have this small group that comes regularly. I just don't see, and I'm trying not to like go against what science says. I feel like I should back up what I'm about to say with, I 100% always wear a mask when I leave my house because I want to keep the children in my care as safe as possible. And to me, that's part of it.
Yes.
Like, obviously I'm going to wear the mask into Bi-Mart if there's any chance that I could then catch it and give it to the kids because of it.
Right.
So there's that. But at the same time, kids are gross. And I'm spending a lot of close contact time with these children in an environment that is not a clean, sterile, non-contaminant environment. No amount of regulations is going to do that in childcare because kids just sneeze in your face.
Yep.
Like, mask or no mask, I don't think a mask is going to prevent much when that same kid comes and gives you a hug and gets a booger in your hair.
Yeah.
Or like casually picks their nose when you aren't watching.
Yes.
High five. And then I adjust the mask because it's driving me crazy. And then that's worse. Yes. To me, the mask is like a way to hold this on my body for longer in this environment.
Right.
It's not like a hospital where you wear the mask for each patient and you have all these cleaning procedures and clothes that you wear to keep, like, keeping hospital workers healthy is such a priority in that environment that childcare is just like not happening. We're equals with the kids in that way, in all ways. And like, we knew that signing up for this job.
Yeah. Ooh, I knew you'd have some good, like, words of wisdom about this. That's why we didn't even talk about this. Like, I didn't even tell her what my plan was. Because I knew you'd have some good stuff.
Yeah. I mean, there are definitely things I worry about. Like, I worry that if one kid gets it, we're all going to get it.
Mm-hmm.
But that's just like any other cold you get in childcare. If you're in a school setting like this, there's never a situation where one kid gets pink eye and only one kid gets pink eye.
Yeah.
I get pink eye every time that kid gets pink eye. And it's not because we're being gross. It's not because we're not washing our hands 80 times a day and cleaning the tables and cleaning all the toys. It's because, like, kids are gross. I've said this before, too. 2-year-olds eat rocks. They put rocks in their mouth.
I'm sure they eat worse things than rocks.
They've definitely put worse things than rocks in their mouth. Ever had a wild bunny come through your playground? And those cute little chocolate nuggets, like, kids are gross. And part of that is this just immunity building that little kids have to go through. And I don't want them to get COVID. Don't get me wrong. No. I would love to avoid it altogether.
Exactly.
But, like, having childcares be open comes with the caveat that there's only so much you can do.
Exactly.
Sorry,
there's so much. There's. What did you say? Say it one more time.
I love your sharing. I have so many feels about it.
I'm so glad. That's why I shared, because I knew you would have so many feels.
I also think that, like, above all, we need to do no harm in the same way that doctors are held to that. So if things get scary here, of course I'm going to have my kids wear masks. We've had 3 cases in March and none since here.
In your county, not in your program.
In my county.
Mm-hmm.
So there's also this level of, like, when are we on the other side? Or, like, yes, when it's scary, you're wearing masks in programs and out and about, but, like, what's the metric to be on the other side of this?
Yeah.
And I think that childcares, unless you're only working with essential children, shouldn't be open until we're on the other side of this.
Yeah. But I mean, that's a whole nother episode, probably. Like, oh my God, I don't know. How do people work? How do we work then? Like, how? Same with, like, I'm just terrified of what's going to happen in public schools in the fall. Like, we're already preparing to potentially be homeschooling, and there's so much more than just masks that goes along with this, and it's probably a conversation for another episode. But yeah, I don't know what the metrics are. How are we how do we know when we're on the other side of it? Is it when there's a vaccine?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
And that's where I'm like, here in Washington, we've applied to be in phase 3 in our county, which allows for groups of 50 people to assemble. Mm-hmm. But I can't have my 10 kids on the playground with the other 10 kids at the same time yet. I can't have that teacher from the other room give me a potty break or combine classrooms so that somebody can leave before working a 10-hour day.
Right.
So, like, when is that going to catch up? And why am I wearing a mask and the kids aren't wearing masks when, like, you can go to a wedding with all these people from out of town?
Right.
Logic isn't following.
It's not. And I think it all just has to comes down to is just, this is all so new and not it was not expected. And so everybody's just in survival mode.
Yeah.
And in survival mode, there's lots of trial and error.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So for now, we won't require them.
Same. Although if the state says that I have to, of course I'm going to.
Right.
Like, that I don't want to come out as like anti-mask.
Right.
It makes an already hard job even harder. And in my mind, less sanitary in this environment.
Exactly.
On you all day instead of being out. Same with your summer camps. Like, thinking about school next year, if kindergarten was outdoors for half days, to me that's better than what it is now.
Mm-hmm.
So like, let's do that.
Right. Okay, we will start that nationwide.
Yep. Do it. No mask required if you're like 30 feet away from each other climbing on logs.
Yeah. All right, show us what you got.
Okay.
Show and tell time.
We have this new theme where we just like talk about all the things that are happening crazy in the world at once. I brought a book today.
Oh, tell me.
It's called The Summer Nick Taught His Cats to Read.
I've never heard of this book.
I hadn't either. Go ahead.
Where'd you find it? Like, what brought you to it?
It was on the shelf at my local bookstore, North Bank Books. Shout out. They're amazing. It's a cute little book about a boy who one summer decides that he's just going to teach his cats to read. And one cat is into it and the other one not so much. And
I know where this is going, I think. Mm-hmm.
It's cute. And finally, like, the other cat, they find this secret, they find a secret stash of this cat who doesn't want to read stuff. And it's all pirates. So then they go and they learn pirate words, and they go to the library and get pirate books, and they start playing pirates together. And suddenly he learns how to read overnight and starts writing his own stories.
Tiffany, this is my jam.
Okay, Kristen, did you notice something amazing about this book?
I did not.
Okay.
This
book is very important to me. I made a new rule when I bought this book because I read it and I was just so in love. And then like 5 or 6 reads into it, I was like, wait, the main character is a person of color. And this book is about him living his amazing, beautiful life. So now I have a rule that anytime a children's book features a person of color, specifically living their awesome, normal life, that I have to buy it.
Oh my goodness.
So, like, this is a bigger picture thing. And I hope I'm explaining it correctly. That, like, I don't want, in my predominantly white community, I don't want every book with a person of color in it to be about civil rights and about their otherness.
Right.
I want all of these books of a kid going with his dad to a library and teaching his cat to read in a very child-led, developmentally appropriate way.
Yes.
So I have a rule now. You have to buy them when you find them. So here it is.
That's your that's your first one that follows the rule.
Yep. This book invented that rule to me.
I totally love the direction that went because I was thinking it was going to go a total different direction about how we learn when we're curious. And that's the best learning. Because that's my whole jam, sticky learning. We need to make learning sticky, but I love that the theme was not what I expected.
That's fun, yeah.
And it's very applicable to world happenings at this current time.
Yeah.
And I love that. Have you done a book audit of your shelf to see if your stories are dynamic and inclusive and feature Black people and people of color? Like, have you looked through to find out how many you have? And the ratio?
I haven't done the count.
I haven't either.
But I had a teacher for a while who read a book and brought it to my attention that it wasn't a good book and that it needed to be thrown away immediately. It was Dr. Seuss, If I Ran the Zoo.
Okay.
And that moment was like, oh, I can just throw away books that support racism? I can just throw them away? Yes. Yes, you can just throw it in the garbage.
Yes, you can.
And I feel like people need to be told that sometimes. Like, sometimes the best thing you can do is just throw it in the garbage.
Tell me more about the Dr. Seuss, because I'm not aware of this.
Oh, it just has a lot of bad racial stereotypes in it. Like, but they're all these funky, cool animals, but then they're also like the people that live with the animals. It's just not good.
Okay. I don't know if I've read it in a very, very, very long time. So I don't even remember what it's about.
A kid goes on he wishes that he ran the zoo and makes up a bunch of new animals that he'd catch. But there's always like a person racially stereotyped that goes along with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
have you counted? No, have you?
I have not. But it's something that I want to do, through like licensing and quality rating systems and things. That multicultural piece, that's what it's labeled as in all of the things in Minnesota. Like, you need to make sure you have like people representative of different race than what is in your community. And we live in a predominantly white community. And to me, like, it was always such an empty thing. Like, they just throw it at you and say, you need to have this, but there's no education on why. And I think that that's something that's missing. I think that's missing in our education system of teachers.
Definitely.
And maybe it's changed since, like, I went to college. But that was a topic that was not highly discussed when I graduated from with my bachelor's degree 15 years ago. But like, when we do our quality parent aware in Minnesota, it's called, they say you need to have multicultural materials, and there's so many that you have to have. And so we have those things. But then one of my teachers pointed out, like, you can have some of these multicultural things, but there's also like cultural appropriation that's going on here as well. There's like this, and I had no idea, like, that's not something that the quality rating system Parent Aware has ever brought up. Like, they say bring in multicultural things, and many people just think, oh, then we need to bring in costumes of different cultures and things like that. But yeah, we had a really lengthy discussion one day, and I learned a lot about cultural appropriation and how some of those things are not appropriate to have in your classroom.
Definitely. Just
to let children dress up as Native Americans or whatever it may be. It's not
a Native American child living their life, right? Like, you don't want it to be about their otherness.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right. So I think we can do better.
Definitely.
Two
is that there aren't a lot of great examples for what this should look like.
Yeah.
Like, dress up is the tricky one for me too. Like, I want kids to like develop that empathy, but I don't want it to be without the meaning behind it.
Exactly. Yeah. And we're also very much child-led programs. So most of what takes place in our program is things that the kids are seeing outside, or they're seeing under a log, or they're seeing, they're playing things out in the classroom that they've maybe seen on TV at home, and things that they're interested in. And that's it's a hard thing too, because it's how much do you direct teach these things and introduce different cultural traditions and things like that without losing that child-led feel of a program.
Right. And without it being inauthentic.
Yes.
Another way I'd put that.
So there's a lot to think through.
Yeah. You know what this means, though?
What?
It means we need a more culturally and racially diverse group of people teaching teachers.
Yes.
And being teachers.
Yeah.
Yeah. At least in our neck of the woods.
In our neck of the woods as well.
Mm-hmm.
And it starts with us.
It does.
And it starts with us. I mean, there's people out there. We just need to seek them out and learn from them.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what everybody...
I have been trusting that the higher ups are doing that work for me.
Exactly.
Like the privilege that I've been living with through everything that's happened in the past few weeks, that like I've trusted that book publishers publish a good percentage of books featuring children of color. Yeah. But like, why do I trust them? I have to do that work.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. And I need to buy that book that you just did.
It's a really good book.
For both reasons. For the curiosity, the child-led learning that took place, and the Black child that was living the normal life. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay.
Whew, we're getting heavy, but we got this.
So heavy. Well, Tiffany.
Well, Kristen.
It's been fun. I
don't know where to choose you. Both sides. Like I can tell.
I don't know.
One of them's right.
We'll see you next time on the Early Childhood.
Early Childhood.